Hi, this is Heidi from Garden Crossings, and we are going to take you for the July tour out here at the greenhouse of the gardens. And I think July is my favorite month out here in the gardens. The hydrangeas all come into bloom. Just everything is so on spot right now in July. So let's take a walk through the gardens. I'll talk about some of the different things that are blooming. And if you have questions, as always, leave your questions and comments below because we'd love to help you with any questions that you have regarding your garden or what's growing in ours. So let's take a walk and see all the beautiful things blooming here in July. We're going to start this video off kind of in a little bit of a different spot than I normally do. We're going to start off in the Waterfall garden, and there's just so much color right now. It is absolutely gorgeous. So let's take a look at how the different plants are doing. I'll try to name what I can for you. And I think before we get started, let's just kind of take a look at the waterfall from the top down. Coming across these beautiful, incredible sunflowers. Planted in front of them are Sun Patience Purple and the Mojave Tangerine Portulacas. Great color combination there. So here we're looking from the top down at all the beautiful plants that are in this waterfall garden. We'll go ahead and name them when we see them from the front side, but I thought this is always such a beautiful view for seeing this garden. So I wanted to just show you different angles as we go along. So let's go ahead and head back to the ground level and talk about some of the hydrangeas that are in bloom. All right, let's start off in this front corner here. We've got the very tall green plant. That's the Rhamnus fine line. That's a great shrub if you're looking to add some columnar height into the landscape. We have one of these on either side of our arbor, and I think that it just really looks nice and kind of gives it a nice polished look there with having those two tall plants on either side. We've got some of the sedum lemon coral along with white Sun Patience. Heading over into the Tough Stuff hydrangea, and the Tough Stuff hydrangea is a mountain hydrangea, and look at these beautiful blooms. They're a lace cap, so they're just starting to open, so they're looking really nice. Behind it we have the incredible blush hydrangea. That's a smooth hydrangea, and that blooms off of the new growth. So very reliable bloomer year after year. You can trim it in the fall or in the spring and not need to worry about if it's going to bloom for you or not. Nestled between the pink and the white hydrangea is the Baptisia. So basically that's a spring blooming plant, but I wanted to show you the foliage for this time of year. Even though it's not flowering, it has kind of a nice habit. It looks like a shrub, even though it is a perennial. So it's good when it's in color, but it has a nice landscape presence also when it is finished blooming. We have some of the Profusion Violet Salvia, Daisy May Leucanthemum. Look at that, a giant ball of color. You can't even see the leaves on that. It is just so many blooms going on. Behind it we have an incredible hydrangea. That's a smooth hydrangea, one that blooms off of the new season's growth. So trimming can happen in the fall or in the spring. Next we head over to the Firelight hydrangea, and I know a lot of the pictures you see for the Firelight is showing you bright red blooms. Well, it does get bright red blooms, but they first have to come out white. So as this plant starts to emerge, the flowers look let's go in for a closer look. They look like that. And then as the petals start opening, it's a beautiful crisp white bloom. And then as these flowers start to age, they're going to take on that beautiful red picture that you see in a lot of the pictures advertising the Firelight hydrangea. So I know we have a lot of confusion sometimes for people when this starts to bloom. They're thinking it's going to start off red, but that's certainly not the case. Firelight hydrangea is part of the hardy hydrangea family, so it blooms off of the new growth and can be trimmed in the fall or in the spring if you desire. Next we have another incredible blush hydrangea. Beautiful plant. It's about 3.5, maybe 4 foot tall and 4 foot wide. It's just really covered with a ton of beautiful pink blooms. You'll notice too there's a little bit of different coloration going on, and that is the different stages of the blooms. The darker blooms are either the bud form or newly opening flowers, and the lighter flowers are the ones that are more aged and are kind of lightening up in color. We have the Weigela. This is the Sonic Bloom Pink. This is going on its second round of blooms right now. The first round of blooms are the most, let's say, exciting, or the most full coverage of the plant. But definitely to have a Weigela that blooms 2, 3, 4 times throughout the year is something that you just don't see all the time. So this, I think, has a lot of color for its second bloom cycle and is looking very nice. We have another Daisy May, and I want to show you for comparison Daisy May on the left compared to Leucanthemum Becky on the right. So somehow we got a rogue Becky plant, and it was supposed to be Daisy May, but we grabbed the wrong thing. And you can just see the 2 Daisy Mays on either side of it compared to Becky. Becky's got great flower coverage, a lot of flowers, but personally I like the more compact, dense habit here of Daisy May opposed to this almost 3.5 foot tall variety of Becky. But we have to remember every plant has its right place in the garden, right? So even though this may not be what everyone likes, it's definitely something that someone else is going to love for their garden. And I can't say it's a bad plant. It's just a very tall plant. Behind it, we have another incredible hydrangea. Beautiful white flowers, really large flowers. And the thing too with incredible is you may be familiar with Annabelle hydrangea. Incredible is a better version of Annabelle. The stems are extra sturdy, so even after a wind or after a heavy rain, you can see these plants have not flopped. We had a ton of rain last week, and these plants are unfazed. They are standing just as tall and sturdy as we would expect them to be. Another incredible blush tucked in there. We've got some of the Suncredible sunflowers, just creating a nice wispy look around the garden. As we take the turn, you'll notice we have another Daisy May, and the color palette just changed. The purple flowers you're seeing, those are the Salvia Unplugged So Blue, and we have those tucked in between these spirea. The spirea have bloomed earlier this spring, and they were trimmed back, and now it looks like they're trying to do another bloom cycle. The pink hydrangeas you're seeing in the back there, those are the Invincible Spirit 2 hydrangeas. There's a planting of, I believe there's 5 plants there. Although the flowers are a little bit smaller than the Incredible Blush, there's a lot of flower color going on with these plants. Invincible Spirit 2 is part of the smooth hydrangea family and can be trimmed in the fall or in the spring. This garden is lined with the Sun Patience pink candy stripe. And then we transition into, I believe this is Rose, Sun Patience Rose. And there we've got more of the Salvia Unplugged So Blue behind there. Heading around, we have more spirea. In the back, the dark foliage plant you're seeing, that is the Wine and Roses Weigela, and that was blooming earlier this spring. In front of this pond, we have the Surefire Rose Begonias that are planted right up there nicely in front of the spirea. That's creating quite a splash of color. Next to those are the Golden Dreams Coleus with a beautiful yellow and red. Looks really stunning. So in this garden, we've kind of taken about 5 or 6 different annuals and have kind of utilized them in all the spaces. Some of them are planted in mass, others have been mixed about to create kind of a contrast of color, one plant to the other. So up at the top of the waterfall there, we have it lined with the Suncredible sunflowers. Coming down the waterfall on either side, we have the Sun Patience. At the bottom here, we have the Surefire Rose Begonias, along with the double up white begonias. And then in the very front here, we have the Artist Blue Argyratums and more of the Salvia Unplugged So Blue Salvia. In the middle of the island, we've taken all those plants and mixed them all together. In addition, we've added some of the Lobellaria global area white knight, and that looks like it needs a little bit of fertilizer and more water. As we head across the waterfall, you'll see the sun pations are lining back down and around. And we'll go in and take a closer look at some of the other goodies. So planted under the tree, we have an assortment of the beacon impatiens. So that's something new for us this year. We wanted to give those a try to see how they did with the downy mildew. So the beacon impatiens have been bred to be downy mildew resistant. And so far here in mid-July, they're doing quite well. We have a little border there of the Cat's Meow Nepeta. In front of that, more Golden Dreams Coleus, Surefire Pink Begonia, Double Up White Begonia, and more of the Artist Blue Argyratum. And you can see that's how we have this little area filled in. As we get to the next little section, this is basically four borders. Up front, we have the sun patiens, followed by the Fireworks Pennisetum grass, which is an annual. Behind that, we have a level of the Going Bananas daylilies, which are just starting to put buds. And behind those are the Lo and Behold blue chip butterfly bushes, which are not blooming quite yet. So this will be really pretty once the purple butterfly bush and the yellow Going Bananas add additional color to what's currently here. Spinning around, the grass you're seeing there that's green, that's the Pennisetum Puppy Love. Hasn't sent up its plumes quite yet. Taking the corner is Itea Little Henry. And earlier this spring, this had beautiful bottle brush white flowers. Now it's just green, and then in the fall, this is going to get shades of red and orange, so it's a great fall foliage plant as well. Here you can see we've continued some of the plants that we had up front. In addition, we have the golden butterfly, the yellow plant, more of the Surefire rose begonias, the double up white begonias, another firelight hydrangea, more of the annuals and daisy May. We have a large collection here of Baptisia, which again isn't blooming, but I wanted to show you this is what they look like when they're not in flower. So they just have a nice mounding habit, which looks like a great shrub, even though it's a perennial, in the garden. Heading around, we did more of the Suncredible sunflowers. Got a beautiful rose penta there. We have, this is Patty's Pink. It's a new plant for this year. Some more pentas, daisy May, and sunflowers. So that is the waterfall garden. Let's go ahead and take a look over at our sign garden. Here is our sign garden, and this is filling out beautifully. The sun patiens are doing amazing. The sedum looks great. The only thing that I'm a little bit disappointed in is the lantana. And don't get me wrong, they are doing great. But I was hoping that they would have gave a little bit more color to this location. So let's go in and take a little bit of a closer look. So this little spot here kind of looks like a 4-leaf clover. And what we did, instead of using the lemon coral sedum and following the entire outer edge, we notched them in a bit and we created little pockets. So in this pocket here, we planted the luscious grape lantana, and it's doing fine. I mean, there's a lot of flowers on it and it's filling in the space nicely. It just doesn't have the punch of color that I was hoping it was going to give. So maybe next year we'll have to put maybe some petunias or something that will give just a little bit more color to that location. But we can see here the sun patiens, they are filling out gorgeous. We did 2 different colors. We did the purple and I think this is rose. And the colors are complementing each other nicely and just really creating quite a splash of color. We were a little bit concerned at first after we planted this because Memorial Day we got a frost and it really did a number on these sun patiens. But they've recovered nicely and are really creating quite a show of color up here in our sign garden. Let me back up and kind of show you it from get the full thing in there for you so you can see it. It's looking beautiful. Let's head over to the 55-mile-an-hour garden. So this is what we like to call our 55-mile-an-hour garden because the traffic traveling through here is going at least 55 miles an hour. So we'll start off on this side of the fence and then we'll head over to the roadside as we get to the end. So in this garden, there's a lot of repetition here of the sun-credible sunflowers, the artist blue argyratum. We also have some of the pugster butterfly bushes tucked in. This was all just planted this spring, so a lot of these perennials and shrubs are not quite mature yet. We have a purple pillar Rosa Sharon, so that's going to get tall and narrow, so that'll give us some columnar height. We planted some Pennisetum rubrum grasses, which is an annual. We've got the fluffy arborvitae, and that's going to give us some winter evergreen color, and that yellow is just amazing. We planted a few hydrangeas in here. This is the Quick Fire Fab. This was just planted from a gallon, so it's not very big yet, but it is starting to show a little bit of flower. The Salvia Unplugged So Blue. More of the sun-credible sunflowers with the artist blue argyratums. Here's a lilac, so that will be our spring color. A berry poppins, which will give us red berries in the winter, so that will look really pretty with the white fence and any snow that we may get. We planted an oak leaf hydrangea because I don't have any of these yet, so I wanted to see what an oak leaf hydrangea would do. So the thing that's nice with oak leaf hydrangeas is they have the beautiful flowers, but then they also have that really pretty burgundy foliage. So curious to kind of watch and see how that develops here in the garden. More of the Pennisetum grass, another berry poppins. So we're going to need the male pollinator for berry poppins. So Mr. Poppins will get planted on this berm here. That's about 30 to 40 foot away. So that's going to all get planted up too in the future. So be on the lookout for garden tours of that space once it gets planted. We have another lilac for spring color. It's the bloomerang purple. And here we've just kind of continued our garden. Another Quick Fire Fab. That did not like the rain, so we're going to have to trim that back. I mean, it's laying flat on the ground right now, but I'm not concerned. We're going to go ahead and trim it, get some of the weight off of it from those flowers, let it bulk up, and then next year it'll look gorgeous and upright. Another arborvitae fluffy for our winter color. Beautiful yellowish golden foliage. And we're getting to the end here. Another purple pillar. So that way it's kind of, this garden is fairly symmetrical, balanced out. I tend to do that when I'm planting garden spaces. Pugster amethyst. And we're to the end of the road. So let's take a look at the front of this garden. So one thing I want to point out as we take the corner here, if you look at this like big picture from start to finish, the color is absolutely amazing. But one thing I want to let you know, and this is a tip that I hope that you guys also can take home and use, is we're going to look closer at these petunias because up close and personal, they are ugly. So this is what they look like. Now, part of the problem is we had, I don't know how many inches of rain last week, and this area was flooded. So these were underwater for about 4 days. So that's part of the problem of why they look kind of ugly. The other problem is these are not getting fertilized. So we do have underground sprinklers. They are getting watered, but they aren't getting fertilizer. So they don't look good when you see them close up. They look great from a distance, but up close and personal, they're pretty ugly. So if you have petunias that are looking like this, go ahead and just give them a good dousing of fertilizer and watch them perk right back up. The yellow plant that we have here lined, this is the lemon coral sedum, and that is doing fabulous. As we get closer here to the end of the bed, the petunias start to look a little bit nicer, And that's because these were not underwater during all that torrential rain that we had last week. So they're getting slightly better, although still I'm not happy with how the plant itself looks. But from the road, nobody sees the difference. So they're doing what they need to. They're making people turn their head as they are driving down this busy, busy road. Let's head on over to the next garden. This flower bed here was a new bed that was planted late last fall, and it probably was even in November. We've been doing a little bit of construction around here. As you can see, we need to get some grass planted in this area. But let's take a look at what the plants are that are blooming in this garden. So let's actually start off here with the new Vista Supertunias. This is the Vista Jazzberry. It's kind of a beautifully purple pink color. So I'm really impressed with that new coloration that they've added to the offering for the Vista petunias. We've got some Allium Serendipity that's got its buds, not starting to bloom quite yet, but they will be blooming here in no time. As we walk down the garden, a lot of these are some of the new varieties, so I don't have the names memorized yet, so we'll have to put the names up on the screen. But let's look at this new Lantana. Beautiful yellow color. Let's go in and take a closer look here at the flowers. It's a really nice balanced yellow color. A little bit darker in the center, and as the flowers kind of fade out, a little bit lighter. A nice habit. It's gonna be more of an upright type habit. So that's looking pretty nice. We have the Banana Cream 2 Leucanthemum. And the one thing with Banana Cream is as the flowers come out, they're really a butter yellow, and then they lighten up. And then as the flowers are almost to the end of their cycle, they turn to almost a white. So you get about 3 different colors on one plant with the Banana Cream 2 Leucanthemum. Here's a trio of Daisy May, and that's just a mound of full color on those plants. You can't even see the foliage underneath because the flowers have just really engulfed the whole plant. Here we have a new Verbena for 2022, part of the Cake Pops series. So this, we were told, is something that you could use maybe in a hanging basket, kind of as a little bit of a, I'm gonna say a filler spiller, but it comes in pink and in purple. Just a very nice airy plant. We have the new Lobelia, the beautiful white there. And Lobelia in the ground, in my opinion, is not really like the, I don't know, not really a ground plant, but you can see it's doing really nice in the ground. Also, there's a new Super Bells. It's kind of a light purple lavender color. It's got that darker little eye there. Super Bells are not necessarily a ground plant. These are better suited for containers and hanging baskets. But when we do these trials, we want to make for sure that we're kind of giving the plants all different possible scenarios. So in the ground isn't where we'd recommend them, but you can see they're doing okay. In the back is the new for 2022 Sunflower, and it's got kind of a little bit of a halo look to it. So it's a little different than the Suncredible Yellow. It's got that beautiful halo. And this is an ever-blooming sunflower. So it's got all these flowers, and there's a lot more buds coming as well. We've got the incredible blush hydrangea. Large blush pink flowers. It's these beautiful blooms. Just look at that. As we move along, we've got the new Salvia. This is a new pink color, and that's doing really nice. Great plant for hummingbirds. We've got the Heucherella, another one of the new sunflowers. And this plant here is new for 2022, and I'm not familiar with this plant at all. So I'm going to pop the name up on the screen, but it's doing really great in the landscape. So this might be one too that you could use maybe as a substitute for Bacopa or something in a hanging basket. But even in the ground, it's a great ground plant as well from what I'm seeing here. We have another incredible blush hydrangea doing really nicely. We've got the argyratum. This is a new one. It's a really nice white color, and you can see that does really good in the landscape. Some more of that pink flower, more of the sunflower in the back. This here is an aronia, and this we planted its ground cover. This is low-scape mound. So this is one that's going to spread in the landscape. So I'm actually kind of surprised that we planted this one here, because I typically am not one that likes things that spread. But yeah, we'll see how it does. We don't know if we don't try, right? Got the new angel face white angelonia, and that's doing nice in the ground, along with a Wedgwood blue. Another new plant for 2022, heliotrope. Really a beautiful purple flower, and these are doing pretty good in the ground. They're a heat tolerant, drought tolerant plant. They look really nice. Another specimen of the new salvia pink. And we're kind of repeating as we get down to the end here with the 3 daisy mays, and on the end, the banana cream too. There's also some lobelia, sky blue here in the landscape. And that's actually filling in pretty nicely. Again, not a plant I typically would use in the landscape, but it's doing quite well in this application. Some beautiful coleus here. So a lot of times people think coleus is a plant that's for shade. These are actually planted in full sun. And a lot of the color blaze coleus that are in the proven winner family, they are best suited for full sun locations. You're going to get your best coloration if you get them out in the full sun. So I encourage you, if you haven't tried any of the coleus in the full sun, get it out in the sun and see what kind of colors you get. Here's another one of the cake pops verbena. This is the pink, and you can see too that that's doing really well out here in the landscape. On the end we have the desert plains grass. So this has got a ways to go before it starts to send up its plumes. And that's also just planted last fall. And on the end here, we have some of the Blew My Mind. This is a great drought tolerant plant. Excellent, excellent blue flowers. So if you're looking for a plant with blue flowers, Blew My Mind is definitely going to bring that blue out into the landscape. Here is a look from it from this location. You can kind of see what the full bed looks like all together. We're going to head out to the next landscape next. So this garden here was started last summer. We got the berm all put in. We had it planted up with annuals because we weren't sure what we wanted to do as far as perennials and such. So the perennials in this area and the shrubs are fairly immature. So we do still have a lot of annuals. But let's take a walk through this garden and just see how the different things are doing. But before we head in, let's talk about what we're seeing here. So we've got the bubblegum supertunia, the Vista Paradise supertunia, Lobularia, Lobularia White Knight. Keep forgetting that one. And then we've got the lemon coral sedum up and around the rocks, along with some of the salvia unplugged so blue. So you can see we took some of the plants that we didn't need in the other area and moved them up into this garden bed to create some consistency. Let's walk around the outer edge here a second. The whole back of this bed is lined with the bubblegum and the paradise petunias. And they are looking amazing. So these are doing a little bit better than what the ones are by the road. And I don't know if they're getting more water here. Maybe they were planted a little bit later, but these are definitely looking a little bit better than up at the busy road. So some of the plants that we planted in this area, in the back there, we've got the yellow flower. Those are the Going Bananas daylilies. In front of those, we have 3 hydrangeas, the Firelight Tidbit, which those are going to be a very compact hydrangea. We did a few of the candy corn spirea. The candy corn spirea is really pretty. There's 3 of them here. The yellow foliage with the red tips. So that's got interesting foliage color in addition to the flowers that it will bring to the garden. We have a couple mini mauvette. Actually, I don't think these are mini mauvette though. Let's take a closer look at the tag. Invincible ruby. So they're a little bit taller than the mini mauvettes. So those are looking pretty nice. A couple of stoichesia here. And then we've got the wee white hydrangea. Caryopteris sunshine blue. Actually, this one's Caryopteris beyond midnight. This one here is sunshine blue. So those will get purple flowers or blue flowers in the late summer. We have a couple of the red hot poker sticks. Some of the dwarf lilacs, so those will bloom in the spring. In addition, we have this giant bloomerang dark purple that we transferred from one of the older gardens. That was just too pretty of a plant to not save. We also have in this garden a lot of milkweed, because this is kind of what our vision was for this garden, was for it to be kind of a butterfly garden. Up on the top here, we have the pugster butterfly bush. There's 3 of the blue, 3 of the pinker, and then 3 of the amethyst on the end. So these have been in their prime. We've trimmed them back, and now they're coming back with some more flowers. We've got a little cluster there of daylilies that are just starting to bloom, or going bananas. The dark foliage there is a hardy hydrangea. I'm not sure, or excuse me, hardy hibiscus. I'm not sure which one that is yet. We'll have to wait till it flowers, but I think it's red. So we'll see. Liatris, that's always a great plant for butterfly gardens. In addition to coneflowers. Those are doing absolutely fabulous. Frankly, Scarlet, the red one, is just beautiful. The white one is the Price is White. Then we did a little cluster here of the tall phlox. We did just a whole bunch of different colors. These are part of the Glamour Girl series. And one thing I can tell you right now is these are planted way too close together. We probably should have planted them about 3 foot apart. So they're going to definitely grow together as they mature. We have some more of the cone flowers. Beautiful meteor showers verbenas, the purple, and the monarchs always love that plant. Around the tree we did 5 of the inkberry hollies. These are, let's see if they're strongbox or gembox. They look so close to the same. These are strongbox that are planted around this tree. So those are going to be an evergreen feature in this garden. On the back side of the hill, we have some more of the Pennisetum grass. We have Arctic Fire, Arctic Sun, and another Arctic Fire. So that is going to give me red and yellow twigs for when I want to do my winter planters. We had a beautiful Arctic Fire at one time, and it didn't fit the place that we planted it, so we took it out. And the one thing I forgot was that I really liked that plant because of the red twigs for my Christmas arrangements that I put together. Another hardy hibiscus, I think that too is going to be red. I think we actually split this one from its original location and created 2 plants, and just look how big that is already. And that was done this spring. Some more of the milkweed, different colors, some tropical milkweeds. Another little cluster there of the going bananas daylilies. Some more coneflowers. Another hydrangea. This here is the, I think it's Little Quick Fire. So that one too is going to turn red as those flowers age, and it's going to look really pretty. Across the front we've got some more coleus, some supertunias. We've got a little bit of spring color up here with columbine and lupin. So we really tried to pay attention to when things bloom when we created this garden, because it's great when it's looking full bloom right now, but you have to think too, like, what is it going to look like in all seasons? So I have winter interest, fall interest, and spring interest with the different plants that I planted. All right, heading on to the next garden, which is going to be the parking lot garden. The parking lot garden really only has 4 plants to talk about, and they are just repeated consistently through this garden. And what they are is the beautiful shrubs you're seeing. That is the Bobo hydrangea. They're just starting to crack open their flowers. We'll go in and take a closer look in just a moment. On the outer edges of each of these islands, we have the Supertunia Mini Vista Sangria. It's a deep magenta color. In the middle, we have the Mini Vista Hot Pink with the Verbena Meteor Showers planted in the middle. And then we just kind of repeated that throughout this whole garden with the Bobo Meteor Showers, Hot Pink, and Sangria. And the colors are just amazing. I love coming out here at night with the sun setting out there over that arbor and taking pictures. The purple, the pink, and the white, it just looks gorgeous. So somebody was asking me earlier, do we do any fertilization? And like I had mentioned, things have not been fertilized yet this year. But sure as I walk out to do the video, I see that the injector is out. Right now it is watering and fertilizing this particular bed. So let me show you how we do that here we're talking Mass Gardens. So all the gardens have underground drip or sprinkler in them. So getting the fertilizer out here is a little bit more of a challenge. So these plants look kind of pooey right now because they were just watered and fertilizer was put on them. So that's why they're not looking as perky as they did on the other side. But basically what we do is we just take a little sprinkler and this injector, and this is injecting fertilizer onto all the shrubs that are out in this garden. Shrubs, annuals, perennials, wherever they bring this injector, this is how the plants are getting fed. So this usually happens once, maybe twice a year. Should be done more often, but it's just a matter of timing and doing it. So that is what is going on here, is the plants are just as happy as ever, getting a little food and drink today. We're going to end our tour today at the front of the garden center, checking in on our jellyfish planters and our aquapots and then the ground plantings. So the aquapots are doing nice. We can see that this margarita sweet potato vine is taking over along with the sun patience white. We've got some of the salvia fuchsia along with some pink gomphrena, and then the palm tree that's almost getting eaten alive by all these beautiful annuals. The jellyfish hanging baskets, they are doing great, and I love just watching how they sway in the breeze. So planted in these, we have the Kimberly Queen Fern, we have the Sun Patience pink candy, the purple, and then the Dichondra Silver Falls. And then what we've done in the landscape is we've done a three-peat or a repeat with the Mystic Illusion Dahlia, the Supertunia Mini Indigo, and then the Super White Angelonia. And we've kind of carried that through along the full front of the building. The 5 aquapots have a little bit of variation going on, although we've tried to use different elements in all of them so that they all tie nicely together. Here you can see we have the sweet potato vine tricolor, Blue Moon Punch Super Bells, along with the pineapple brandy coleus and the white polka dot plant. And as we go back to the entrance, I think what we're going to see is a repeat of the one prior to the one we just talked about. Well, it's a little different. It's got the palm tree, the fuchsia salvia, Wandering Jew, Supertunia Mini Vista White. It's got some cerveza lime. Oh, that stuff smells so pretty. And then we've also got some of the lighter coleus in there as well. So the aquapots are a great tool if you are somebody that goes on vacation or doesn't like to water, because these only get refilled about every 5 to 7 days or so. Now, as the plants get more mature, they're drinking more, so we do need to refill them a little bit more often, but they are doing fabulous. Hope you enjoyed this garden tour today. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date on all of our garden tours. This is Heidi from Garden Crossings.